It's time for Ask Mike and Todd. Todd Ranck is in. We go to the top of the hour tonight, the NFL Draft on 97.3 ESPN. We just got done our MGPT Top 5 at 5, where today we did our top 5 board games. I had a bunch of board games on it. Pete Thompson didn't know any of these board games. Now, he went with the old classics. I mean, he went with like the kiddies, like Candyland and like Monopoly, you know, the Risk and Clue, that kind of stuff. I went with more like the newer, stuff at a party or something, Taboo, Pictionary, Gestures. Remember Guess Who? Is your guy wearing a hat? Remember that?
I got no clue what you're talking about. I will say this. But the thing is today, like if you've got the girlfriend or the wife or whatever, you get the friends over, you do the board games. If you're now Pete Thompson, he is married, right?
He's got a long time. He would be like what's that called when you have the same girlfriend, for like 7 years or longer? What's that in New Jersey?
Right. He's basically by law he's married. I believe she'll get at least in California she would get half when they got divorced.
Yeah, I forget I can't remember the term that you use when you've been with somebody for 7 years in New Jersey, but
Yeah, they're all but married. But that's the thing. I mean, a lot of you guys, you'll get together, you play the board games. It's a good time. I just remember when I was younger. I don't do it now. And I would have been with PT. I would have gone with the staples because I don't really go outside the box too much. Sorry was the one I really liked.
Right. He gave me Sorry as well. His 5 on the list were, he just texted them to me: Monopoly, Clue, Trivial Pursuit, Sorry, Chutes and Ladders.
I would say Trivial Pursuit, the sports edition. I would have clarified that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, those are the staples for me, too. I didn't really go too far extreme with the board games. We were outside. When we were younger, these kids today, they're on the phones. They're doing all their stuff. We were playing. We were outside,
Right. Well, I mean, I threw that Guess Who in there. That was like the older school one for the kids. I can't believe you don't remember that, where remember they had all the cards and they had like a picture of somebody on it, and you'd be like, does your person have a hat on? And they'd be like, no. So anybody who had a hat on, you'd flip their card down until you narrowed it down until, hey, is your guy Sam?
I mean, it sounds like a cool game, but I don't believe I've ever played it. I do like the one, though. What's the one where you like lick the card and then you stick it on your forehead or something? And they're trying to tell you what your card says or something. I think they do it with a little machine now.
Right now they do it where you basically take your cell phone and you flip it down and then hold it up on your head, and then and then as soon as they guess it, you flip the phone back down again. Like you just keep putting the phone down and it changes the picture.
Yeah, that seems. I mean, I've played that a couple of times, and we really you have a couple cocktails with that one, and you have a good time.
Right. Someone just said that's a common law marriage. That's what I was looking for. Common law marriage, where basically you're with the same person for 7 years. You're not actually married, but by Jersey's, if you're with the same person for 7 years, that's a common law marriage.
Yeah, PT's locked in whether he likes it or not.
Right, but I don't think he's doing the game night. I've never heard of PT having the game night. That's why his games are Monopoly, Risk, Clue. Those games you don't play for game night. You have people at your house, you're not playing.
No, and when you get older, I mean, that Monopoly, I remember I'd be running that game with a buddy for a week. I mean, that game would be continuous for a week. So you need some time for some of those older school games. Same with Clue. It takes a little bit of time.
Right. I mean, we played that Taboo. That's the game where, you got the word and the 5 words that you can't say, and you got to try to get them to say the one word without giving them the other 5 names as the clue.
Yes. And it's great. They as soon as you said that, my vision went right to 4 Christmases with Vince Vaughn. Great movie. And they play that game with Mom, and the young boyfriend used to be his best friend. He's a great scene.
Right, and then I throw that Balderdash in there. That's a great game where they give you all the words with the definitions, and you make up your own word and definition. You try to get those people to think that your word is actually real with the definition.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, when I come over to visit, do you have those games at the house right now, or no? You play them
Gestures I have, Taboo I have. I don't know if we have Balderdash or not. We had a game night a couple of weeks ago. We do the game. We just started that game night, but then it got cut off because of this. We were starting it the last Friday of the month, and then we've only gotten 2 of them in because of this whole situation.
Right now, everything.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because people are doing game nights on Zoom. You know, they're playing board games and doing all the game nights. Now, the other night you told me that you had a birthday party on Zoom and that they had a comedian on that thing.
They did. I'll tell you, they did the best they could. I thought it was a cool, innovative idea. The sister of a friend of mine set up the comedian that's their favorite comedian in Seattle. And he came on and he did an act, like a 35, 40-minute act from his living room. He had a couple blow-up dolls in front of him. I mean, it was pretty good. But it is interesting. It's weird. I'll be honest. They're doing the best they can. But
I think the comedians have it really. I didn't even think about, like, you got these musicians that are doing the stuff on, like, Facebook Live or whatever, but a comedian trying to get these jokes over in a Zoom room. Ooh.
It's tough. And he wanted all of us to keep our volumes on because he needs to hear the response, right? He wants to hear you laughing. It's not about, hey, guys, put it on mute so I don't hear you so I can do my act. He needs the response. So I'll be honest, as a spectator, I felt obligated to smile and laugh throughout because everybody on Zoom's looking at me, and I'm going, I felt exhausted after this comedy act because I felt like I had to smile and laugh the entire time.
Yeah, I am out on that scenario. The fact that you had to keep the mic on and then you have to come up with like a fake laugh because you feel bad for the guy.
It's awful. And, I wanted to get up and move around and, you got to sit in front of the camera and I'm going, this is killing me. So, I mean, it was good for her. It was her birthday. She was happy. But I will tell you, it was painful to go through. I wouldn't recommend it. But for her, she enjoyed it as the birthday girl. So good for her,
Well, right. I mean, was the guy like well known?
In that area. In Seattle, he's really well known.
Okay.
So I didn't know him, but there were a big group of people on Zoom that were from the area, and then, of course, a couple of us that were East Coast, West Coast, South, and North. And so, yeah, we didn't have a clue. But he was, I will say, if I had a couple drinks, I'm at the Comedy Store and I'm watching him, he was pretty funny. I mean, he did some of the virus jokes, and then he got into, like, his main act, and his main act was pretty good. The problem is, you got babies on Zoom. Ooh. These people are on there. Honey, get back here. You're hearing that in the background. And he's throwing a couple F-bombs in there once in a while. I mean, it was getting itchy. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. I mean, it just feels weird that the guy's doing this with, like, all these different people in there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I give him credit for trying, but I'm out on that.
Well, he's trying to get, again, it's a gig, right? He's getting paid, so.
You got to. I mean, you got to come up with creative ways to do stuff right now. I get it, but, I mean, when you told me that the other night, I said, the guy's doing a comedy show on Zoom.
And I said to the friend, the birthday girl, I texted her in the middle of the show, and I go, this is wild. I'm watching this dude from his own living room. There's nobody else in his apartment.
I mean, is he sitting on a couch? Does he have a microphone? Is he like, how's he doing it?
He did the microphone. And you know what he did? He actually did 2 sets. And he did it from 2 different locations in his apartment to make it feel like I'm doing 2 different acts. So the first act was on the couch, and then he closed off that window of the Zoom, and next thing you know, he's standing in front of 2 blow-up dolls with a microphone in the living room. I mean, I'll tell you, he put in the time, and the act was smooth. I mean, the act overall was smooth.
You feel that if you were in the venue, it might have gone over better?
There's no question. The material was solid. I just don't want to feel like I have to laugh. I'm not necessarily an outward laugher. I could listen to you and be like, man, you're really funny and this is really enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to give you that bellow laugh to give you the response. You know what I mean? But on Zoom, you felt obligated to.
All right. Ask Mike and Todd. He's Todd Ranck. I'm Mike Gill. It's the Sports Bash. Did you see this story with Brady today? I mean, this guy, first he gets nabbed for trying to work out outside in Florida. Then he's going over to the coach's house, and he goes to the wrong house, and he goes to some other joker's house.
I did not hear this story. Did the guy welcome him in his home?
Well, apparently it was another coach on the team's house. He was going over to the offensive coordinator. Is that Byron Leftwich is the coordinator down there. So he's supposed to be going to Leftwich's house. Well, he walked into the house next door. He doesn't knock. He walks right in, and he's face to face with the guy. And then he realizes, well, right, I'm in the wrong home.
That's great. Well, let's also be honest. Who's the offensive coordinator this year in Tampa? His name's Tom Brady.
Well, it's Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, I mean, how much is he going to listen to Byron Leftwich?
Well, I mean, come on, that Leftwich was a solid player. I mean, he's probably an up and coming guy, you would say. But so it says a source with knowledge of the situation confirmed the incident to ESPN and said that Brady and Leftwich were trying to follow social distancing guidelines, having Brady come to pick up materials from his new home rather than meeting with him. The source said Leftwich had been expecting him, which might explain why Brady didn't knock first. So that Brady thinks he's at the house. I'm at Leftwich's house. I just roll right on in with the door open.
He's having a tough time his first couple days.
Right. I mean, he might say that New England wasn't so bad after all.
Yeah, he's having a tough time. But I do appreciate that he's already ready to get that playbook and get to work. I mean, that's understood. I mean, that's where he's at on draft night.
Right.
He's already trying to get that playbook.
Speaking of draft night, we have live action tonight. We finally have live action sports-wise, and we've got a NFL draft. Do you have any interest in this year? I mean, you got the two LA teams out there. Do you have any interest in this?
You know, I don't have a huge interest, but I will say.
I mean, come on, this is like all we got.
I know. Well, I'm going to go over to my buddies tonight. I haven't seen a human being in about 3.5 weeks. So I'm going to go over. He's got a projector set up out on his patio. So we're not going to be in the house, and it's just him, myself, and another buddy. We're all going to have masks on, and we're all going to watch the draft from the projector screen. So it should be cool. But, you know, I mean, I'll be interested to see how they're doing it out of their homes. I mean, how are these trades? I mean, do you really think, like, the trades and all the things that got to happen so quickly? I just am interested to see how it's going to play out tonight.
Well, of course, you got Miami, who had the whole tanking for Tua, last year. And then, of course, they won a couple games. So they're fifth. And then Tua gets hurt. And now he's sliding down because the Burrow kid, all of a sudden, out of nowhere last year, put himself at the top of the draft. So he's going to go number one. And then the Dolphins, who won a couple games, end up with the fifth pick. They're probably going to get a chance for Tua. But now, of course, they had the kid Herbert from Oregon. You got Tua there. There's this kid, Jordan Luck, who's all of a sudden come out of nowhere from Utah State. So the whole, we always watch these quarterbacks in this draft of what's going on there. And then, obviously the Eagles at 21, everybody had them going wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Well, now out of nowhere, people are starting to say, right, it's going to be a linebacker potentially, which never happens in the first round.
I would say this. I'm interested. The Chargers, what are the Chargers? 3?
No, they are 6.
Chargers are 6, but I've heard that it's the Lions that are 3, right?
Lions are 3.
And I've heard that they are willing to drop down, and I've heard talk about the Chargers leapfrogging the Dolphins to then either go with Herbert or Tua, right? It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but would you go – the question I would say to you, because I'm a Tua guy, I think I'll let Cincinnati have Burrow because he's just going to get lambasted in that division with those defenses. But I think Tua would have a better rate for success, I think, if he goes to a Miami, of course, if he goes to San Diego, because they have a great team right now around him. But what do you think San Diego would be taking a quarterback tonight?
I feel like their coach out there has gone out of his way to try to say that Tyrod Taylor is not only the guy for this year, but like moving forward. It's like, all right, man, like we get it. You like this guy. You don't want to make him look bad, but you're really going to put the franchise into Tyrod Taylor's hands for the next 3, 4, 5 years when you have the 6th pick in the draft.
See, and that's I wondered. I've heard that, and I wondered to myself, is this guy just playing the game? Is he trying to tell everybody in the draft in those first 6 picks or whatever, we don't need a quarterback. We're good. We got everything we want. And then maybe all of a sudden jumps in and grabs that number 3 pick and takes whoever they want, Herbert or Tua. Now, is Herbert available at 6 if the Dolphins take Tua at 5?
I would imagine. Unless the Chargers trade up to 3 to go get the quarterback that they want because they're not sure what Miami's going to do. That's where it gets a little interesting.
Right, because 2 is definitely going to be Chase Young. Are we right? I mean, is that understood?
Well, that's what you would anticipate. And by the way, that Chase Young's going to be a pain in the Eagles' ass.
Oh man, he is a beast. I mean, an absolute monster. I mean, he's the best player in the draft. There's no question in my mind.
Right. That's most people would say that if you were just taking the best player, he would be the best guy to take. But I mean, obviously these quarterbacks get pushed up the list because of all that stuff. But and what else is going to be interesting is all these GMs got these wanky draft rooms in their house.
Well, right. And I heard for the Cowboys, I think, and I don't know if this was just a joke, that Jerry Jones basically said, hey, my word is the word, and I got my own little setup in my house, and I'm good to go. I don't need anybody else.
I mean, I'd like to see that Jerry Jones. What's he, almost 80 now? Sitting there with a mouse and looking around on his computer, trying to figure all these things out, watching people on Zoom meetings. Got a comedian in the background on one of them. I mean, come on.
And again, what are we going to see on the television? Are they going to allow us? Are there certain rules where we're going to have to be able to see into Jerry Jones' home? Or if he's talking to one of his buddies at their house, are we going to get a double Zoom with both their cameras? I mean,
well, if you've seen some of these setups, I mean, they showed us Howie Roseman's setup. I mean, he's got like 9 different computer screens set up. I mean, some of these guys got like 6 and 7 monitors on their desks at home. I mean, it's crazy.
This is going to be wild. And I feel bad, let me just say, because we had talked about it earlier today on text, Todd McShay not being a part of this tonight. I feel bad for him only because I don't really want to hear Mel Kiper that much more. But the two of them together always are, it's a lot of fun. And it is a shame that, he works all year for this night, basically. And unfortunately, he got, I know most people probably know by now, but that he got that coronavirus. So he's out for tonight. So, so it's a shame. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out tonight. There's got to be a couple of kind of surprise bombs that occur in that first round, don't you think? I mean, something's going to happen tonight.
Of course, it always is going to be nuts, and with this whole situation, it's going to be even crazier with everybody in their houses. I mean, you're going to have people in their house, and I don't know, like the owner not there, so you can kind of like get more stuffed up because the owner's not sitting over your shoulder, kind of looking at what you're doing. I mean, I don't know how this is all going to map out, but the WNBA did their draft a couple of nights ago, and apparently it went without a hitch.
Wow. Okay. And I didn't see any of it. Did you see part of it?
I did not watch it live, but I did see that, that it was very well received. It had very good ratings. So I would imagine the ratings tonight are just going to be through the roof.
They have to be. And again, where's the commissioner going to be? Is he literally going to be, is anybody going to be?
The commissioner is going to be in his basement.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. That's where he's going to do the draft tonight.
This is unbelievable. You got the Eagles moving up. Any chance of that or no?
There's a chance for up, out, everything. I mean, I think the Eagles are one of the more intriguing teams for a team in the 20 because they have such a definitive need at wide receiver, and there's so many good wideouts in this draft that they can just wait for one, move up to get their favorite, or go out and take a couple in round 2 because of there's just a historical amount of depth at that particular position this year.
And like you said, maybe that's why the conversation changed a little to maybe linebacker first round, knowing that the wide receiver's so deep, they feel like they can get a really good one in the second round.
Absolutely. All right, Ask Mike and Todd is in the books. The draft is coming up. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll recap the draft. I got some interesting audio from this Ben Simmons stuff, too. We'll have to try to slip into tomorrow's show from Jackie McMullen and also Paul Pierce and Richard Jefferson. So we'll try to get that on tomorrow's show as well. All right, man, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good, buddy. Enjoy the draft.